Episode 640. Deception froze solid. If not for the sound of wind from an incoming attack ringing in his ears, he might have truly turned to stone right there. What the hell is this? Surrounded on all sides, can't even run. This guy actually said he was going to scavenge? He called it scavenging, but did his actions look anything like scavenging? What does scavenging mean? Scavenging is picking up the gear that drops during the chaos. For Deception to actively attack specific targets like this was already a fairly extreme form of scavenging. But Lord Grimm was even bolder. He went straight for a full health character, intent on killing him first, then scavenging. This is scavenging? This is just daylight robbery. Deception grumbled inwardly, but a glance around confirmed that Lord Grimm kicking the launcher aside and leaping down was apparently the only viable way out. And that way out depended on knocking the launcher down first. With that thought, Deception immediately felt that scavenging was just something he said on a whim. That guy was going to kill the launcher and fight his way out. Deception thought it over as he shot out through the gap, then leaped down into the open air. But when he looked down at the street below, he was completely frozen. Down on the street below, Lord Grimm was tearing into that launcher. But in this situation, the launcher was no longer an obstacle. Knock him down and run, that was the play. Going out of your way to finish him off, that's just wasting time. Could Lord Grimm actually be planning to scavenge? Deception, stunned, felt certain something was off. Before the character even hit the ground, he was already inspecting the launcher's gear. Most guild members had decent gear, but that was only compared to the average casual player. Deception didn't have a big backer like that, but with his ruthless scavenging skills, he was living a comfortable life in the game. The kind of standard gear worn by rank-and-file guild members wasn't enough to make him drool. By the time Deception hit the ground, he'd already given that launcher's gear the once-over twice. His scavenger-trained eyes couldn't spot a single thing worth Lord Grimm going all out like that to grab.
Get over here and help out. You won't regret it.
Deception was puzzled. Then he heard Lord Grimm call out again. Could it be in the bag? Deception immediately caught on. Inspecting a character only showed the gear they had equipped, not what was stashed in their bag. But items in the backpack also had a chance of dropping. With that thought, Deception didn't hesitate. He gripped his ninja blade and charged forward. Yi Shu had the launcher completely under his thumb, hitting him with every skill in the book and leaving him completely disoriented. The real problem was his damage output. Lord Grimm's character level was too low, his gear was underleveled, and against level 70 opponents, even his skills were just low-tier ones with pitiful damage. In this situation, skill could secure an advantage, but when it came to raw numbers, there was no way to speed things up. The moment Deception charged in, everything changed. 2 ninja ultimates right off the bat, and they matched a whole string of Yi Shu's small combos.
Not bad at all. Watch your head.
Yi Shu offered a compliment, then a warning. Deception looked up and saw the players on the rooftop, who had been purely on the defensive, now dropping down like dumplings into a pot. Deception was growing anxious. He'd known from the start that trying to loot someone under these conditions was practically suicidal. But something worth going that far for must be pretty valuable, right? The thought alone made Deception unwilling to leave. But with so many dumplings now, how was he supposed to deal with them?
Speed.
Deception heard Lord Grimm shout again, then saw him dash forward. First, a falling flower palm slammed into a player jumping down from the left, turning him into a human cannonball that careened sideways and knocked into 2 more. Then Lord Grimm spun and fired an anti-tank missile. The player jumping down from the right was about to land, but instead stepped right onto a cannon shell and was sent flying back. So, with close-range skills, long-range skills, and using the falling players themselves as projectiles, since they couldn't dodge mid-air, not a single one of them managed to get close. They were all knocked far away. Those who hadn't mastered the quick recover were already rolling on the ground.
Not dead yet.
Having finished with that, Ye Shu pulled back and immediately criticized Deception, who was still hacking away at the launcher. Deception was a bit frustrated too. He'd come out to scavenge without wearing his best gear, so his damage output really was lacking. Hearing Ye Shu mutter under his breath, his mind stirred. He suddenly remembered that during the scavenging just now, he might have some gear he could temporarily equip. He thought about it, quickly found the right piece in his bag, swapped it in to boost his attack power, and his damage output immediately jumped up a notch.
Not bad at all.
Yi Chu watched the launcher's health bar drop and allowed himself a small nod of approval. Deception's focus sharpened to a razor's edge. This guy was about to fall, and the loot would drop in the next instant. Deception was confident his scavenging skills would let him grab the loot first. As for the "you'll get your share" line, Deception didn't believe a word of it.
Hurry up, we're about to be surrounded.
Lord Grim had arrived to help, shouting as he fought. The dumplings he knocked away bought him only a few seconds before the crowd surged forward again. Yi Shu couldn't just blast them all away in one go. The two of them were in a sorry state, frantically laying down fire with the launcher while dodging the increasingly close attacks from their pursuers. A storm of bullets and a forest of blades, the two of them scrambled and scurried like a pair of cornered monkeys. The two monkeys were about to be surrounded, but the launcher was already at death's door. One more hit and he'd fall. The pursuing guild players had no idea why Yi Shu and Deception were so fixated on that launcher. They only saw a launcher fighting with extraordinary ferocity, willing to sacrifice himself to hold two people at bay. The players were deeply moved and naturally couldn't bear to see the launcher actually sacrifice himself.
Cleric, cleric. Clerics, clerics.
Every party was calling for their cleric. In a numbers advantage fight like this, the clerics hadn't been keeping tight formation with their teams. Some were late to arrive. Just then, hearing the urgent summons, a cleric finally surfaced. Taking one look at the situation, he knew what to do. Charging forward, he raised his staff to cast a healing spell, but instead, an explosion rang out, and a burning shockwave sent the cleric flying, a shuriken embedded in his forehead.
Cleric, know your place.
You're asking for death.
Deception held the pose of throwing a shuriken, then both characters swiftly spun their cameras around and smoothly delivered the finishing blow to the launcher in front of them.